Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Wholesale Hotties, the place where ladies in real estate are talking about real estate. I'm your host and MC for the evening, Sharon Lee Smith, together with my co-host, Donda Molinex. Hey, Donda. And Monique Fell, who keeps popping in and out of here. She'll figure it out soon. And Jennifer Stewart. Hey, Jen. How are you?
Hey guys.
And listen, before I introduce our guest this week, I just have to say, our very first episode was November 6th, 2024. So we are over a year, but we missed one or two episodes in the middle there when I had a heart attack. And so today is episode 52, one full year of episodes for Wholesale Hotties. Yay! I feel so awesome and accomplished with my consistency here.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. But here's the thing: is that we've been here a year, but so has this guy, our favorite fan, Jim Holdex, who's done. His husband comes on every week and says, "Hello, hotties." Hey, Jim, I'm so glad that you are here just as consistently as we are. So thanks for being our favorite guest, Jim. So today we have Lori Eubanks. Lori, it is so good to see you on the show. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. It's an honor. Very grateful.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you came. Let's start with you on who you are, where you're from, and how'd you get started in real estate?
Yeah. So I'm from Richmond. I'm here, Richmond, Virginia, and I buy all around in about an hour and a half radius. So Richmond down to Portsmouth. So, but yeah, I got started 2012 when I was just really struggling. I needed to find a way to make some more income to make sure I didn't lose the house, situation. So it was a sink or swim, trying to find a way to get some more supplemental income, some side hustle type role. And yeah, jumped into real estate, and it's really been an amazing journey.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that journey. Have you like only been like a rental investor, or have you been flipping houses? What have you been doing?
Yeah. So in 2012, I found a flip I thought would be a flip. I jumped in, gutted it, and then found all the problems, the
Yeah.
termites, the mold, and the county ended up shutting me down because I didn't pull permits. It was just like a nightmare situation. So it took, me a lot longer, it being the first deal and then such a big project. So at the end of it, I had seasoned it. So actually, my friend was like, you should just refinance out your lender and you can hold it and cash flow. So my first deal ended up becoming my first rental. So yeah, and from there I knew I don't know if I can survive that again, so I'll just go through some cosmetic flips. So, and at the time I had three young kids, so I was like loading the kids up in the van, checking on the jobs. I mean, it was a very, stressful time, but I'm so grateful for the lessons. So I was working full time, raising babies, and then, doing this on the side. So it's absolutely possible for someone to just jump in and learn as they go if you have the right network. So
Yeah.
that's, really the secret sauce of it all is that, so many people really surrounded me. And if I didn't know, I would worry, but I would just call a friend and that friend knew the answer right off the top, of their head. So that was, an amazing part. So I would just do one or two cosmetic flips and then I would save up and I would buy a rental. So it was a very slow growth for the first 5 years. I mean, I got a few rentals and but in 2015, 2016, I got my first rental portfolio. So that was a little bit of like a mind blowing thing for me because I didn't know you could buy 10 at one time.
Yeah.
You know, I was just, it's like, well, that was so much easier just
Yeah.
to like, it's
Yeah.
one transaction might as well be 10 at a time. So once I learned that, and also I did get seller financing on that deal, so it really unlocked, you know, a lot more opportunities, me believing I can do it. So, you know, why am I not asking for this? So it was really, really amazing, kind of the box that we put ourselves in, like, oh, I can't buy that
Yes.
many, you know, I can't, you know, it's just so many of those can't moments. And then you do it and you're like, well, that's crazy. Why couldn't I? So, 2016, 2017, I ended up buying a couple more packages. So it was, you know, really learning that I could, you know, pretty much work with landlords that want to exit, and they'll say, hey, pick 10 properties, you know, out of this list and I'll sell or finance them. So I was doing that and still buying one-off deals, you know,
Yeah.
really building my wholesaler community, because my guys are so good. They're out there door knocking, and you know, they're just out there, they got the drive. So
Yeah.
just been really kind of building that up. And in 2020, we ended up getting our larger property where I never thought we could ever do, because we were buying 100, $200,000 type homes, but
Right.
this one was just amazing. We got it fully furnished, and so during COVID, we opened our first Airbnb during COVID. So, but that's been our best performing property. So, um, yeah. And from there, I started lending around then. So, actually, the lending part was amazing because what really ended up happening is that the seller that had sold me packages of properties,
Mhm.
I ended up refinancing him out to the bank. And I asked him, like, well, what are you going to do with your money? And he didn't have any plans. So we started lending together, where you know, if someone needed 100 grand for a deal, you know, I would put in a couple grand with my 401k and he would fund the rest. And you know, wrap lending. So I really enjoyed that. I did that for a couple years until I had to foreclose on an investor, unfortunately. So a couple deals didn't go as planned, and I
Mhm.
could name, you know, a bunch of reasons why it didn't work out, but
Yeah.
learned a lot of lessons. So at that time, I kind of pulled back the lending part, and I told my private lender, I'll just work your money in my deals. And so, you know, we just kept growing on that end. But, you know, I really did enjoy the lending side. It's very unfortunate that I kind of stunted my growth on that. But
Mhm.
I really was able to refocus on building the furnished rentals, and also the long term rentals. So we're doing a little bit of everything. We're flipping. We're, you know, I like to say that I'm a problem solver. So I really like
Yeah.
talking through the situation and trying to find a solution. If is there a win-win in this deal? And sometimes there's not. But I really enjoy that, and it's been great. I've met some amazing people, and you know, I've been full time in this since I believe about 2018. I had to think about it, 2018. So
Yeah.
I was able to, you know, retire the corporate world, and you know, that means a lot because now I have 5 kids, and you know, not having to rush to the office at a certain time, it really matters when you have all of these other moving parts. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been beautiful.
That's awesome. I'd love to go into that a little bit further, actually, because that's like one of the things I know for Jen is the same, and for me, like the freedom and you know, to be at home with your family, and you know, obviously you've got business stuff to do, right? But you don't have to be rushing out the door and 9 to 5 and grind all the time, right? The freedom that you gain in the entrepreneurial world, and specifically real estate, where there's obviously there's some work involved in being a landlord or whatever, but there's some passivity to it as well, and so that that how did your whole world change family wise, as you were building things, like with when you quit your job, right? Were your kids like, "Oh my God, mom, that's great"? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what was that moment like, and all those
Yeah.
things?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, they didn't think I was cool until 2020. So they didn't really care at all until 2020 when we got our big Airbnb and it has like a pool and a
That's so
hot
funny.
tub and a sauna. And then they were like, wow, like, this is cool. Like I
That's
was,
great.
their friends even started following me on TikTok and like different, so then I was like,
Awesome.
yeah, I'm really picking up traction. But all of our family gatherings happen at this Airbnb that sleeps 16, and we just have so much fun there. And so
That's
um,
awesome.
that one deal, I think the reason why it was so impactful is because the kids got to see that we can actually enjoy and make memories in what
Mhm.
we're building. It was more of
Yeah.
a legacy because like this is something that's important to all of us versus like running to a smelly house that we're going to sell. And they don't care about the money stuff, the time they care about. So
Yeah.
making memories in this house is really what has shifted them and into a little bit interested into
Yeah.
the real estate game. So but now my daughter Gabby, she's in college and she just joined her real estate group, a real estate club at JMU. And it's amazing to think that, because they've seen, the growth and what it's been, really given us the ability to do. I feel like that's really opened up some doors in their lives. So no, I don't want them to think like you have to go to a corporate job and just work every day and then come home and make dinner. And, it's just, I want them
Right.
to use it to fuel
Yeah.
their passion, you know?
Exactly.
Well, Lori,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of an important factor and the amazing fact that you've been able to emulate the opportunities that they can consider and look at, and even going to college, they're not pigeonholed into you going there and getting a corporate job or just getting a regular job. They can join a club, and see what you've done and things you've gone through. And that's so key to being able to give that to our children.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
it's neat that they have a community at the school she's going to for real estate, which I don't know that
Yeah.
that existed before. But you mentioned you started and about a community. Were you involved with a community when you got started? Because a lot of people starting have nowhere to go and they're not sure where to even get started. And what knowledge did you have? Were you just like, I've never done this before. I've never been in real estate. Kind of how
Yeah.
did that look? And what would you recommend to newbies that were wanting to get involved?
Yeah, pretty much every city has meetup.com where, you can type in real estate investing or, real estate groups or investing clubs. And a lot of groups, free groups usually will pop up. And that's what I did. I was like stressed out, up late, on Google, what can I do? And I found our local real estate investing group. And I think they were like, that was the only one at the time in 2012. So now there's like so many of them,
Oh my
but
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's amazing. If you're in Richmond, it's like every week you have something you can do. And but yeah, that's what I did. I went to the group and I asked, I just observed at first, and trying to understand what the words they were saying, because I mean, I was fresh in the water. So, but yeah, I started asking everybody to lunch. I wanted to hear their story. And, at the end, I would ask them, how can I help you? And I think that's so powerful. Instead of saying, I want to pick your brain, I want to like gather everything I can, but like, you know, inviting someone to lunch and like hearing their story, but trying to find a value that you can give back. I think that really helped form a lot more, deeper relationships, because now I know what they're looking for. So maybe I don't have it right now, but 5 years from now, maybe that spark pops up and we reconnect. So, networking has really been the best tool that you can ever do, and it's usually free. So, that's what I would advise a beginner, is just get out there, get uncomfortable, and just ask questions, even if they're silly. Like, there's no stupid questions in real estate.
I love
Well, I
how
think you made a really good point, Lori, because you mentioned that, you're talking to people and you're green, but you might not know something today that you can help them with, but tomorrow or down the road, you can look back at that and have an experience that now you can help and give back to somebody else where somebody gave to you in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's just it's great how you that was a really good tip for people, because a lot of them just like join a mentorship or do this, and it's like people a lot of times don't have the money or funds to get started. Like yourself, you just started doing that, and now they are everywhere. Where were you getting your leads from at that time?
Yeah. I mean, nowhere. I would just bring up Zillow and I would call the listings on MLS, and I would ask their agent, because I was calling directly. I would ask them if they would pretty much take half of what they had listed it for. And I offended a lot of people, just not, really realizing it. But eventually someone said yes, and it was a probate deal. They wanted, I think 55, and I offered 30, and they were like, "No, this is ridiculous," which I was used to at that time. Like,
Right.
so
Yeah.
like, this is absurd. But at that time, the agent could get both sides of the commission. So I think it was a great strategy just to start the conversation, because there was two sides. So yeah, eventually I got someone who's like, no, 30 is crazy, but we'll take 35 for this, little house. It was a little 3-bedroom rancher in Hanover County, which is a great area, great school district, and on an acre lot. So,
Nice. Yeah.
that type of deal is hard to find now, but and so yeah, I jumped in, and I understand now why it was 35 grand, because it had every type of problem you can think of. But so I don't.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Lori, where'd you go?
Oops,
I'm
wait,
sure she'll be back.
that call.
There
So
we go.
sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I would suggest a full gut, on your
For your
first
first deal,
project.
no, probably not.
But I would say I learned so much through it. I don't know if I would do it any other way today. So I think it's like whatever comes first. If you're out there making offers, then analyze the deal. It could be a great rental, it could be a flip, it could be furnished. But for me, if the deal will make $300 in cash flow on a long-term rental, then I'll try to keep it. But if it's not going to cash flow at least that, then it's better to just flip it.
So, tell me the story about this fantastic Airbnb. 16 bed or bedrooms?
Yep, 16 beds. It's 7 bedrooms, but we do have some bunk beds. But yeah, it's really, it was inspired by Quest IRA. I'll have to say that, give them that shout out. So I went to the expo that they had every year. So 2019 Quest Expo. At those events, the best conversations are outside of the room, in the hallway type conversations. And one of the investors, he started around the same time that I did, but he was like mansion rich. Like he had so many mansions, these luxury properties, and I'm like, how did you do this? Like, tell me your secret. And he's like, well, it's easy. Like, I'll just call up the $4 million listing, and I'll offer him 2 million, and I'll, ask for seller financing. And it was just like so easy, and I'm like, who does that? Like, who would actually say yes to seller financing a mansion? And he was like, almost everyone, because they're business owners. Usually the, entrepreneurs are buying the bigger houses, or business owners, they understand that they have a vacant property. You're coming to them with a solution. They know the value. So it just blew my mind. Honestly, I was in that box. Like I was buying 100, $200,000 houses. So how could I do that? So I, came home and I was just telling my friend Ryan about it. And, Ryan, he's an investor and also an agent. So he's like, well, let's try this out. So he pulls out his laptop and we start, calling the agents on the $1 million homes. And this is just off MLS. And almost everybody said yes. And these
No
are the
way.
agents. Yeah, I mean, these are the agents saying yes, but the questions were like, well, why does she need seller financing? And it was like, well, she's a business owner, so it's easy for her to acquire and then refinance. And it was like, oh, they understood me so well, because that's what they did when they were growing, or they understood the value. So I told Ryan, I'm like, we cannot buy all these mansions. Like, it's like,
Why
so,
not? Let's do it.
so we did have someone who said yes to seller financing. We made an offer. We wanted everything in the house, including like the wine bottles, like everything we wanted. And, they told us we were ridiculous again, because the art throughout the property, the art alone was worth over $2 million,
Wow.
because his collection was like insane. He had been collecting forever. And so we were like, well, what can you do? We followed up with that. And they said, well, we'll give it to you at this price, fully furnished, but none of the art. And so we made a deal. But unfortunately, we found out they could not do seller financing. So, again, I was like, oh, we were so close. Like, it almost worked. And my friend Ryan was like, well, you haven't even asked any of your lenders if they would do it? And he's right. Like, I just kept putting blocks for no reason. So again, I went to my lender and I'm like, this sounds crazy, but we want to buy this place and do corporate housing, like corporate retreats, team building. Well, let's remember this is 2019, the end of 2019. So, well, my lender said yes. So I'll start there. It was amazing. He said yes. I was able to put money down to do the deal. So I put some skin in the game. And yeah, we bought it January of 2020, and then everything shut down. So it was very scary, again, because I'm like, oh my god, who's gonna rent from us? Businesses are pulling back, people can't even go out of their houses, like. So actually, me and my kids, we were able to go stay there for like 6 or 7 months to work on it and like get things together. And we just put it on Airbnb and it rented right up. Like, it was pretty amazing, because all these families were wanting to gather. They hadn't seen each other. Our pool was open. So
Right.
it was just a whole experience that me and my kids got to do together. Friends and family, like these are the like moments that really mattered during that time. So today, it's been 5 years we've been running it, and we've had several famous people stay with us, and hosted a lot of gatherings. So it's just been a great experience that you can make memories, make money, and make an impact on your whole family. So It's been great.
What'd you do for the debt service, Lori, while you guys were fixing up that place, which, as you know, I visited. It's lovely. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love
Thank
visiting
you.
it. What did you do for the 6-7 months of debt service while you're fixing it up? Or was it an interest only? Or how did you handle those dormant months?
Yeah, so it was just an interest only loan from a private lender. So, I mean, I think it was like 10%, maybe a little more. And it was only a year loan. So the pressure was on because,
Yeah.
it was also a unique deal where like he had co-lenders in there and they may not have been as, easy about it either. So there was just a lot of pressure. Well, shocker, I was not able to refinance it in a year because they were like, it's not seasoned enough. There was just all these reasons why the bank didn't want to do it. So I'm like, what do I do? So I ended up going to a DSCR loan to do a refi. And then I ended up having to put more money down because there was nothing to really compare it to. So unfortunately, I've had to refinance it and, put more money. So I have a lot of skin in the game on this deal. But on the flip side, I owe like hardly anything on it. So the cash flow is pretty great.
So do you owe little on it because you were putting money towards the equity every time you had,
Yes.
profit for the month? You were like, let me just make sure that I have, this is a very equity heavy property.
Yeah, no, I never put extra money towards the mortgage. I was basically, when I had to buy it, I had to put down like $150,000 just to buy it. And then when I went to hit the refinance button, I had to put down like another over 100 grand into that deal so the DSCR loan could close because they didn't want to do the full amount.
Sure.
So, now I'm like, oh my God, I'm 300 grand in this deal. But we've had months where we have made over $45,000 at this one location for 1 month. The mortgage is $3,500. And then you have expenses for utilities, extra maintenance. So let's just say $5,000 your, expenses. I mean, you have some slow months in the winter, but in the summer, you're doing great. So, really we just need one booking to pay the mortgage. And so right now, the nightly rate, it ranges, but it's fluctuating anywhere from 1,500 to 3,500 a night. So it's definitely our best performer.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. I remember when you got that property, and I remember when you're trying to refi it. And I remember I was just like, I was so rooting for you, Lori. I was like, and so just to hear how it is now all these years later is genuinely inspiring. That if you just push through the fear, and I was going to bring up at some point as soon as I heard you were a guest tonight, that you're one of the most creative problem solvers that I have seen in this space. Yeah. And so I was wondering, what I'm seeing out there, Lori, right now is a lot of people who have private money loans that can't pay their lenders back. And these are good people. These are people who are good operators, who have excellent reputations, who've been doing this 10, 20 years, people that we all know, like, and trust. And I was just wondering, for the viewers out there who are facing that, who are good actors and good operators, but they don't know how to pay their private money lenders back right now, you being the amazing problem solver that you are, do you have any advice for these unfortunate people who are just good people, just happen to be going through tough circumstances?
Oh, that's awful to hear. So let me back up. I feel like there could be different ways to help based on the situation. So the first question I would ask is, well, why can't they pay the lender? What went wrong in the deal? And like evaluation wise, like, can it cash flow? Are these people that were just flipping, or what type of deals are these?
Good question. So a couple of them were flips, a couple of them were new builds, and some were long-term rentals that papered well, But as rent pressures have been pushed down in many markets, now Virginia, from what I've seen, Richmond is still very healthy, but places in Texas, California, Florida, all of a sudden rents have gone down and insurance costs have gone really high up. And so now a lot of people, their portfolios are underwater and they can't refi. And that's what I'm seeing. And that's what breaks my heart. Because like I said, these are good people. These aren't criminal, crook, sociopaths. These are like really good people, and experienced operators who just got hit with too many headwinds.
Oh gosh, I have definitely been in situations where my plan A did not go as planned and I had to go to B and C. And so it really depends on the situation, but I would first go to the lender, talk to them, see what their situation is. There are a lot of times we think that lenders will only do a year, but if you ask, maybe they'll extend for a point or, raising the rate or try to make a win-win with the lender first. That also saves a whole refinance fee. So I think going to them, and some of my lenders are like the smartest people that I know. And sometimes if I come to them with the problem, they'll actually help me brainstorm and resolve it. So I think starting with the lender first, seeing if you have the backup exits. Do that research before you call the lender. Make sure you know your numbers. What's the rent? What can you do with it? Really try to have some solutions already planned out. If the lender says, no, I just cannot do it, I need you to get me out of this loan, go to another private lender. Maybe the bank won't do it, but there's a lot of lenders out there. If it's going to cash flow, I mean, there's a lot of factors involved, right? To make sure it's still like, something that they will finance and make sure there's value in there. But there are a lot of lenders that don't mind going 2 to 5 years. So I think it depends if it can cash flow, which depending on, the value of the loan, a lot of times they can cash flow here in Virginia. I don't know about Texas though, but yeah, that's a great point to bring up. And definitely always have your exit plans, always keep liquid money, like just in case type money.
Yes.
Because y'all know things do not go as planned all the time.
I'm telling them to do co-living. And I know we have some ladies on here who have co-living.
Okay.
Lori, do you have any co-living properties yet, or are you staying away from that so far?
So is co-living like multiple people, like rooms, renting out rooms? Yeah. When I first started, I accidentally bought a rooming house, and I think I just have like PTSD from all the drama that went in. Like they ate my sandwich, and I was like, oh, it was too much. But we have about 14 furnished rentals now. And I really do enjoy that. We have a lot of people that, we'll list them for 2-day minimum, but then we'll get like construction workers for 6 or 7 months.
Right.
And, they're paying the nightly rate. So, a great example, I have a regular house. It's a 5-bedroom house. And regular rent would be maybe $2,000. Well, this month I'll make 13,000 because I have construction workers. They keep extending.
That's awesome.
And, it's 2,200 a week on the way that they're doing it, but the company is happy to pay it. And it's amazing for me. So I'm like,
Yeah.
how many of those do you really need? The mortgage on that one is only $1,500.
Oh,
So
where are you listing them that you're getting construction companies to rent from you?
yeah. Just Airbnb and VRBO. It's
really,
yeah, okay. Yeah. So I think this company that's renting, they're doing the fiber wire installs, and they're from Texas. We have a lot of developments that are happening where they're bringing workers to, construction. A lot of different tech companies are happening, data warehouses. It's definitely growing over here. So we're seeing a lot more, we're calling them like gig type stays. They're here in town for a gig. And I feel like that is the sweetest spot to be in because you have no vacancy, you have zero turnover for a few months, and then insurance stays. So if you have a 4 or 5 bedroom and you have somebody that has their house was flooded, because the toilet overran. This is actually a real life story I'm
Yeah.
feeling right now. Like they need a house, but they have a whole family. They can't just rent a 3 bedroom. Like they're looking for a 4 or 5 bedroom. The insurance company has nothing that they can find them in
Sure.
that school district. So I'm not violating anything renting to them for 2 whole months because
Nope.
it's not short-term rental, but
Right.
I'm getting that daily rate of $420 a night
Nice. Yeah.
for 2 whole months. And to me, that one stay is worth it for the whole year. It doesn't matter what it does, the whole year.
Yeah.
We're already good. So to me, that has been like really the biggest gem that we have found in the last few years.
Yeah.
Way better than co-living, it sounds like, for you and your
Well,
experience.
it's the management end, I think.
Yeah.
Just, how many people and relationships and contracts. And, I don't have great experience because I jumped into an unwanted group home. I didn't even know what it meant. So, yeah, just go out and do it. You'll learn some things.
And weren't you doing, forgive me, I don't remember the real estate term for it, but in my southern brain, it translates to an old folks home. So what's
Yes.
the real estate term for that again? I forgot.
Yeah.
Assisted living. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So now that's what our focus is going towards. We are getting into memory care, which is such a passion for my partner and I. We are so excited. We just bought a huge building in Richmond, in Northside. It's 20,000 square feet, and we're it's going to be 34 rooms. Right now it's 40, but again, we got seller financing on this deal.
That's
And
amazing.
just so excited to have this opportunity to make such an impact, because our senior community really needs it. And for
yeah.
memory care, dementia, Alzheimer's, there's so many different things that, it's a really big need in our community. So we're just excited. That's what we're coming in the next year. That's what we'll be really thriving in. So now I feel like I have that purpose again, like that passion to do deals, because I need money for this renovation, because since it is seller financing, it also means self-funded renovation. So,
Tell me about it. Yep.
if y'all are doing deals here in Virginia, y'all should be calling me because we are hustling to get that. So yeah, it's really great to kind of see the different businesses and the different ways you can make money. You don't have to just be a wholesaler or a landlord or whatever. You could really just make your way and see what you like best, what works best for you.
That's awesome. Hey, you mentioned the lending part when out of 401ks and stuff. Can you talk a little bit about that and how people, if they don't really want to do these deals, but they have the money to lend, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I really enjoyed the lending side. I thought it was a great way to learn and, kind of win with another investor. It was just a great feeling. But yeah, so it really all I did was I told people in my circle that, I was doing deals with, right? Like they were selling to me, I was selling to them. And I just like, hey, if you need any private money for your next deal, let me know. We're lending up to 70% loan to value, which was like very standard. So yeah, they would, present a deal and we would go to the closing table just like the bank would. And we would record, a deed of trust and a note against the property. And we would collect interest payments until they resold it. And we really, I say we, me and Carl, we enjoyed it so much because it was easy. It was a great way. We felt good until it didn't. So we did have some problems at the end, obviously. We did a deal where there was a partnership situation. So like our borrower, we have, done 3 or 4 deals with them. He actually had a partner in this deal, right? And we fronted like one draw. We fronted one draw to get started. And the bad partner, it's always he said, she said. One partner took the rehab money. The rehab money was never to be seen by the other partner. And so from the beginning, there was a problem. But guess what? Their operating agreement was 50-50. They couldn't sign the property back to me, even though he wanted to. He couldn't even give it back. We had to go through the formal foreclosure to get it back and get it off, is what we thought we had to do. So we hired an attorney and we went through the process. And I think for me, I was very hard on myself. Like I always told all my lenders, like, if you want to do a wrap deal, you'll never lose money. Like I'll take care of it. You're safe. And that was the case. Unfortunately, though, it took a lot of time, energy, and for me, I was so upset with the investor. Like, how could he not do what I would have done, working with him? Like, how come he's gone dark? Or like, a lot of things didn't make sense. So, um, you know, you really gotta just protect yourself. And if I did it again, I just wouldn't lend to partnerships. Or if it was a partnership, there would be a clause that says like they can sign it back. I definitely would do it differently if I had stuck to like my, standard, like, deals. I probably could have gone a lot farther, but I did really enjoy it. And it changed, my co-lenders' lives. Like they were using their retirement money and it helped giving them, interest checks every month. So it was great.
Lori, what do you do for, if you can talk about it publicly and if you can't, totally understand. It seems like you generate a lot of cash, which is amazing. I mean, that is like the goal, right? And so with that much cash, I imagine there's a tax liability that you have to mitigate. And so may I ask if it's acceptable for public, what's the best way that folks could mitigate their tax liabilities whenever they eventually get to a position where they are generating this amazing cash flow?
Yeah. So first thing, I'm not, any type of CPA or accountant or any attorney, anything like that. So get one, right? Get a good CPA and, ask them that question because it's different for everyone. For us,
not just any CPA, right? One that specializes in specifically this.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. So that's really what happened for us is, we started selling so much, but we weren't buying as many. So we got hit pretty hard. 2020 tax was like devastating, really. But 21, 22, 23, I was steadily.
Oh no.
Disappeared again.
I needed those
that was so anticlimactic. My God. 21, I was. Okay, she'll be back, I'm sure. Oh, that's funny. Jen, what do you do as far as tax mitigation?
Well, I use this sophisticated software called TurboTax. And I do it all myself. Yeah. And I try to give as much to churches as possible. So I just sent a big donation today to a church in Northern California. And she's like, do you want me to give you any money for this? And I said, because it was like a big thing of, hundreds of brand new toothbrushes and plus shipping and all this stuff. She's like, do you want me to give you any cash for this? I said, no, but if you can just give me a receipt from the church, that would be great. So that's the main thing is I look at my tax liability and I go, okay, let me give to churches and people. And if you think about it, a pastor is an operator of a spiritual business in a way. And so I like to give to churches where I know that the pastor is truly about serving the community, right? And so that's why I give to this particular church because I see how she lives in the homeless shelter. She washes the feet of the homeless, and she gives her last dollar to that population. Lori, you're back.
So sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry about that. I know we were talking about taxes, and I think this is like important to share. So I'm so sorry about that. But for taxes, you will not be hit as long as you're buying. And if you can offset your tax hit by buying more rentals, do it. So for us, like we bought a huge building this year. So if I sell a bunch of stuff this year, it's not going to hurt me because the way things are, working together. But I didn't know how to do this. Like my CPA has figured all this out. And if as you're growing, you probably want to meet with your CPA every quarter or at least every 6 months, because then like, okay, oh snap, I sold all these properties. I better go out and, buy another portfolio, So you really want to be analyzing what movement has happened throughout the whole year, so you
Yeah.
know where you're at before the end of the year. You don't want to be stuck paying so much in taxes.
So why'd you sell instead of 1031 exchange from a business strategy perspective?
You're talking about in 2020 when I got hit so bad?
Yeah, anytime whenever you're selling versus 1031.
Yeah. So I was flipping a lot. And when you flip, you can't 1031 it.
Right.
So, but now I am selling a lot of my rental properties, but I didn't even care to do the 1031 because I'm not going to pay taxes. And if you think about it, 1031 is really like kicking the can. Like, unless you, leave this world,
Right.
then, there's no taxes, but it's just paying more taxes later. The tax rate is going to go up. So for me, if I'm not going to pay taxes, don't do the 1031.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, but if you're selling rentals and you don't have, absolutely, I think it's a great way to do it. And, I definitely will be utilizing that in the future.
Awesome. Lori, I know that you need to go because you're a mom and you have to go pick up kids and all the things. So I want to say goodbye. But before you go, this has been so inspirational. How many doors do you have?
Now we are like 121. And but we're like buying and selling every week, so the number will go up and down.
Sure.
But I really believe the sweet spot, I guess it just depends on like what you want to manage. So now we're just looking at like, okay, well maybe we need to, just find good property managers or different ways. So because you don't, like everyone has different pain points, but you don't want to become a motivated seller because you grew too fast. So it happens.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we will wrap up tonight early because I know you got to go. Lori, it's been great having you on. I really appreciate it. And I would love to have you on again sometime soon.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to. After basketball season, I'll be back, ladies.
Good.
Thank you, Lori. You were a wonderful guest. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we want to help you get money for your project, right? Put this out there, right? People know. Send Lori the deals, right, Sharon?
Yes.
And then lenders too, right? It never hurts to have more lenders.
Yeah. And if you have like those problem people that you talked about, like if anyone is going through a difficult situation, I would love to help brainstorm. So if you want to share my email or anything like that,
I'll ask him. I'll say, hey, you want to talk to Lori about this? So I'll let him know. Thank you, because they're in a bad spot.
Yeah.
Do you need Lori's information for people to reach out to her?
Yes. What?
Yeah, you could share it in the notes if you like. My email, I'm on all the social media sites. So anybody reach out. Love talking real estate and problem solving. So hit me up.
Awesome. I'll make sure to get that in the notes. Thanks, Lori.
Awesome.
Have a good night. Drive safe.
You too. Thank y'all. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.